Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Marketing Cracked, and today it's Q&A time again. Welcome back. Here is the news. I must stop doing that really. I do it loads and Emily tells me it's not funny anyway, so let's get on with it. If you've got any questions about marketing design, by the way, and you'd like our opinion on them and you'd like us to read them out, then just send them to hello@codebreak.co.uk. So we do get asked questions quite a bit, especially since we've been upping our social media content. Not very good for us to advise clients that it's all about content and then we're not producing content ourselves, and we'll come on to that. That is a question, funnily enough. So, number one, Mark Hartman. Thanks, Mark. Got a question, B2B, Twitter or LinkedIn? I guess we do talk about this quite a bit because there are no hard and fast rules. This is going to suit you better. Even in the same industry, Twitter might suit one financial advisor better, whereas LinkedIn might suit another financial advisor better. But generally speaking, if it's B2B, we would go with LinkedIn. That is our personal experience based upon what we've seen work best for our B2B clients. Now, a lot of this can come down to time, and time is usually the barrier to so many things, not money. And that, from a social media point of view, comes down to frequency, as in how many times can you afford to post a day, and indeed how many times should you post a day. So for example, on Twitter, the optimal number of times you should be posting daily on Twitter is 13 tweets a day. On Pinterest, for example, it's 11 times a day, whereas LinkedIn, Facebook and Instagram, once a day. So you might need some kind of ad budget, but generally speaking, once a day should be doable for pretty much any business. But like we always say, I'd rather have 5 quality posts a week than 7 or 10, maybe even 3 or 4, because content is important and so is engagement. So if you can put the time aside to tweet 13, 14, 15 times a day, then go for it. My opinion would be, if you've got time to do that, I'd spend your time on doing something better, to be honest, because LinkedIn, since Microsoft bought them for $26 billion or whatever it is, naturally it's in their interest to recoup their money, to make LinkedIn a super cool, user-friendly platform. Now, LinkedIn is heading towards pay to play. You probably get notifications saying, oh, if you upgrade to premium, you can get this and you can get that. So that day will probably come, but at the moment there is a whole load of great stuff you can do on LinkedIn free of charge. So generally speaking, Mark, I'd say B2B, I'd go for LinkedIn, but that is you, Mark, on LinkedIn personally, not your company. Very hard to grow a company page. And if you're the sort of SME type business, a small to medium sized business, then there should be at least 1 or 2 faces of the company, and I'd focus on those faces, unless you look really strange. But I'm sure you don't, Mark. So, right, question number 2 from Ellie Brown. Right, so why not use Fiverr for a logo? Okay, right, so Fiverr.com. Very good, where you can go on and say, I'm looking for someone to do a voiceover, I'm looking for someone to design a logo, I'm looking for someone to manage my social media, and the cost is $5, or $5 the cost starts at. Now, there is nothing wrong with sites like Fiverr. There's quite a few ones to choose from where you can access freelancers across the globe. Now, if you're a startup business and you've literally got no money, and you're looking for a basic logo, Fiverr could suit you down to the ground rather than going off and spending £10,000 with a city agency. Now, there has to be a but, of course. Now, we design logos and you're probably looking at our prices starting £800-900. Now, you might ask, well, why should I spend that when I can spend £5 with someone in Uzbekistan? So my question would be, what experience does this person have and what advice are they giving you? If they are just literally going to blindly do what you want without providing advice, I'd say you're off to a pretty dodgy start. Unless, of course, you have a good marketing design background yourself, you will know what you want and what's going to work. But if you've got someone who literally just does what they're told from any of your suppliers, then I would raise that question. I want suppliers that will bite back. I want suppliers who will say, well, are you sure, Andy? Have you thought about doing it this way? But that's down to you. Also, will you get brand guidelines provided? Will you get a sheet telling you about colours, about the use of your logo, about the fonts to accompany it, so that your branding remains consistent no matter where you are? So if you've got a newspaper ad, you've got a social media page, you've got your website, you've got stationery, you've got a uniform, and there's inconsistency between them, slightly different colours, the logo looks a bit funny here, that can cause a problem, especially if your business grows. You look at the Nike tick, you look at the McDonald's golden arches, they're exactly the same dimensions and very specific covers, and God forbid any franchisee at McDonald's, for example, who tried wavering away from that brand identity. Also, would your logo be provided suitable for multi-purpose use, that you want to be able to use on the side of your van or on your shirt, whereas an agency would provide your logo in all the necessary formats? And to be honest, well, how we work anyway, that if a client who we've designed a logo for calls us in 6 months' time and says, oh, I'm going to get some stationery done, or I'm going to sponsor a board at the local cricket club, would you be able to liaise with the cricket club and provide them with the kind of artwork they need? Then we would do that for you, whereas your freelancer guy might not be able to. So those are the questions to ask. But again, Fiverr, it could suit you down to the ground. Right, question number 3. I keep seeing your videos. Who the fuck? Right, okay, right, we'll come back to that one. We'll do that one later. Question number 4. We got a lady called Fiona Smith. What is the best marketing tip you can give me? Oh, goodness me, how long have we got? Probably already been ranting on for about 5 minutes. Best marketing tip, content, content, content. Content is king, always will be. So it is getting your stuff out there. Marketing will always come down to market, message, media. So market, who is your audience? Message, what are you going to say to them? And media, where are they consuming their media? So you need something interesting to share. It's always about sharing advice free of charge. You notice in our videos, we're not just here selling. It's about sharing your expertise free of charge. And we would say at the moment, that's probably video. So our best marketing tip was start doing videos. All you need is an iPhone or a good quality smartphone and a tripod or a gimbal, and we record all these videos on our iPhone X. And as long as you are doing them regularly enough, that will make a big impact on your business. We are creating a lot of noise through our videos, and some people, like the previous guy, he might be sick of seeing them, but so what? You can't please everyone. It's like sending emails out. You can't worry about sending emails because someone might unsubscribe. Unless you are sell, the people unsubscribing, they're just not interested in you and they weren't going to buy for you anyway, so don't worry about them. So get practicing with a video, get practicing on trying to do everything in one take. Our videos, they're not perfect, but rather than me sitting here and doing 28 takes and taking a day to do them, I'd rather spend 10 minutes doing them. And good is not good enough. I've talked about that phrase before, but if you are such a perfectionist that none of your content actually goes out because you're still editing it 2 weeks later, you might as well have done something else, gone to the pub or gone to your mum or something. So that would be our advice for you, and the best marketing tip: get more content out there, and that content should be video led. Right, final question from a guy called Rufus. Okay, don't know many Rufuses. Number 5. Right, so what are you reading at the moment? So, as you've probably seen, if you watch any of our videos, we're big fans of readers. Got a big bookcase brimming with books over there. Business books, autobiographies from business people, but also celebrities. One of the best business books I've read is Arnold Schwarzenegger's autobiography called Total Recall, just to see and read about his work ethic, and it very, very switched on. He was a millionaire before he became a famous actor. He was a millionaire through very shrewd property investment, so that's a fascinating book. But the book I'm reading at the moment, Rufus, is by Rob Moore, called Start Now, Get Perfect Later. Rob Moore, fantastic guy to follow on LinkedIn, Facebook, and he's got a podcast called The Disruptive Entrepreneur, well worth listening to. And we just started our podcast series, actually Break It Down. So go looking for that on Anchor or Spotify. Hopefully you should find it. Rob Moore's also written 2 other books called Life Leverage and another one called Money, both very, very good books. Rob Moore is a property investor himself, multimillionaire. But Start Now, Get Perfect Later is all about procrastination, about how there's so many good business people out there with great ideas, with great benefits to share to people, but they never get round to it because they're like, oh right, yeah, I'll get on that tomorrow. Oh, I need to change that comma to a semicolon. And procrastination stops so many great business ideas, where sometimes you've just got to do it, to nick a Nike phrase. If you go onto YouTube and Google, if you look on YouTube, Shia LaBeouf, Just Do It, you'll see a great video that he's done all about procrastination. So that's me done, I think. I can see Emily waving her fingers around well, so it must be getting up to time. I'll see you soon for another edition of Marketing Cracked.